This is it.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop.
So give me something to believe, 'cause I am living just to breathe, and I need something more to keep on breathing for. So give me something to believe.
You're listening to Jacob Dean, streaming live on the web.
The revolution will be broadcast.
We bring you the real stuff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Filter Free Radio. My name is Jacob Dean, host here. And with me, as always, is our fantastic super duper co-host, Mr. Skeptical Scott.
Yeah, I'm the one that broke the Ustream.
Hello.
My bad.
It's no. We did have a little minor technical difficulty there, so please bear with us. The Ustream kind of croaked on us, and but we're live. We're doing it live. Fuck it, do it live. So that's what you kind of get for a live broadcast on Labor Day. When we're not supposed to be working, we're supposed to be taking a day off.
You sinner.
So there you go. Well, now that I'm trying to regather my thoughts, because when the Ustream croaked, it not only stopped the broadcast and went offline, but it erased the first hour that we did. So I'm a little upset that our first hour is not recorded.
That means no podcast.
Well, this is the podcast now. So if you didn't get to listen live, we did a fantastic first hour on labor and labor and unions, and we played a whole bunch of FDR clips. And depending on how the second hour goes, I might be able to squeeze some of that in near the end of the show. So you do get to see it on the podcast. But I'm going to go ahead and maintain course here for my listeners, my fantastic mates. I don't know, our people are hanging in there with us during these technical difficulties out there. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm happy to be with you and happy to be getting the word out there about what we're doing.
And who better to get the word out than George Carlin?
Thank you. We listened to a George Carlin stand-up over the weekend.
Well, a couple of them anyway.
And George really touches on things in ways that nobody else can. He can make a point in one sentence that takes me half an hour to try to get across.
And uses wit to do it.
And does it in a very hilarious way. And so I've got a bunch of George Carlin clips. Some are just funny, and some actually have good points to them. Some are just funny, like
a rat will do a lot of gross things, but he will not fuck a dead rat.
We've got some humor for you, and we've also got some things that are really dark and really kind of crazy. And I want to start with this clip. These are kind of out of order, but the fact that consumption has become the new American pastime, and how we've all become slaves to our mall state.
These people are efficient, professional, compulsive consumers. It's their civic duty. Consumption. It's the new national pastime. Fuck baseball. It's consumption. The only true, lasting American value that's left, buying things. People spending money they don't have on things they don't need. Money they don't have on things they don't need. So they can max out their credit cards and spend the rest of their lives paying 18% interest on something that costs $12.50. And they didn't like it when they got it home anyway.
Spending all their money that they don't have on shit that they don't need. That's exactly the source of the problem with...
Why are they doing that?
Why are they doing that? But wait, there's more.
Mile after mile of mall after mall. Many, many malls. Major malls and mini malls. They put the mini malls in between the major malls. And in between the mini malls, they put the mini marts. And in between the mini marts, you got the car lots, gas stations, muffler shops, laundromats, cheap hotels, fast food joints, strip clubs, and dirty bookstores. America the Beautiful. One big transcontinental commercial cesspool. And how do the people feel about all this? How do the people feel about living in a coast-to-coast shopping mall? Well, they think it's just fucking dandy.
Where else are you going to buy all of that insignificant stuff to get your mind off of the fact that we're getting fucked by the system?
Everybody wants a gizmo. Give them a gizmo. Give them a cell phone. Give them a laptop. Give them a cell phone, takes a picture of a laptop. Give them a laptop, takes a picture of a cell phone. Give them one of those things they buy for themselves when they're trying to take their minds off how badly they're getting fucked by the system.
There you go.
Exactly.
Thank you, George. I love the way that he can
Buy something to take your mind off being fucked by the system. And spend your last dollar to do it.
That's it. That is it.
Hey, man, escapism at its finest. Consumerism is a form of escapism. I think escapism is a larger problem. We all escape into certain things. One of my escapisms happens to be dwelling on all the bullshit that goes on in our society, which is why I like to do this show. It's sort of an outlet.
Right. And why are we all just able to go along with the mall state? Why are we all able to just accept things for the way that they are and actually not realize what's going on? Why are we not able to push back? George, help me. Tell me what's going on.
People are fucking nuts. This country is full of nitwits, assholes, fuck-ups, scumbags, jerk-offs, and dipshits. And they all vote. They all vote.
Oh, I get it now.
In fact, sometimes you get the impression they're the only ones who vote. You know those people on the Jerry Springer show? Those are the average Americans. Oh, yeah, believe me, below average can't get on the show. People are fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Now I get it. That's why. I'm sorry. I just think that's hilarious. Okay.
Well, I mean, how many times a day have you felt like saying it to somebody? Like, oh, my God, are you fucking dumb?
Right.
You know, I mean, and that's the thing. A little bit of information is dangerous, too. I think too many people have too much of little information about certain subjects or you know what I mean, like a small grasp on the big picture. And so each little indication is something that they're not able to see, obviously the root of it. So.
And here's a clip that when Scott and I were watching George Carlin over the weekend, Scott said, oh, we have to have that clip because that's, I'm pretty sure you said this is one of your favorite clips here.
We're the only species on Earth that deliberately kills members of our own species for personal gain.
Exactly.
Only ones.
Exactly.
I thought that was pretty frightening. I hadn't heard that before.
Right. And even more frightening is when you take a look at just kind of the general history of assassination in our country's history. This is shocking. George Carlin points this out, and I think this is really important.
You know what's interesting about assassination? Who it is we assassinate. Did you ever notice who it is? Stop to think of who it is we kill. It's always people who've told us to live together in harmony and try to love one another. Jesus, Gandhi, Lincoln, John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John Lennon. They all said, try to live together peacefully. Bam! Right in the fucking head.
I'm not sure if that's ironic or just sad.
Scary.
Apparently, we're not ready for that.
Yeah, George, apparently we're not ready for that. No, we're not ready to
Not as a society.
cooperate and to work together and to all, try to achieve a greater, being for all of us. That's we're absolutely not ready for that. This brings me to, I think, the only reason that I wanted to play George Carlin clips on the show is this clip right here. And this is a little bit, this is a little longer clip, but it's going to keep your attention, believe me, if you just listen to it.
Is this the dark one?
This is the very dark one. if assassinating liberals wasn't dark enough.
Yeah, if you feel like suicide, this one's for you.
But wait, there's more. You ever notice that it's always called the American dream? It's called the American dream. We all thrive for the American dream. It's not the American goal. It's not the American, it's the American dream. You want to know why it's called the American dream? Because you have to be asleep to believe it.
There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever be fixed. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big, wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money.
Bam.
They want your fucking retirement money.
Bam.
They want it back. So
Labor
they can
Day.
give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged, and nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream. Because you have to be asleep to believe it.
What do you think of them apples?
That's a little dark because it's true.
And again, in the middle of that, the whole thing was brilliant. But George touched on what I was touching on the whole first hour: the slow erosion of our
institutional memory.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to pinpoint this clip again real quick and play this one part again real quick.
Good. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money.
It's worth pointing out that was back in 2002. And he was like,
10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, 10 years ago. Now they're coming for your Social Security number. And here we are again. And remember, George Bush ran for governor on grounds of repealing Social Security, and he tried to do it in his second term, first or second term, and it got shot down. And so here we are again, Barack Obama putting Social Security on the table.
Now, because of some technical difficulties, the first hour of the program tonight did not get recorded. I played this clip in the first hour. I'm going to play it again because it's so important. This is the President of the United States of America, Franklin D. Delano Roosevelt, okay? The President of the United States of America speaking to the people, us, we the people. Listen to the language that the President of the United States uses, and listen to the reaction that he gets from we the people. Any politician running for president today could say the same exact thing and win. Think about it.
Of course we will continue to seek to improve working conditions for the workers of America. To reduce hours that are overlong.
Long hours.
To increase wages that spell starvation.
A livable wage.
To end the labor of children and to wipe out sweatshops.
Child labor laws.
Of course, we will continue every effort to end monopoly in business, to support collective bargaining.
Collective bargaining that they're ripping away from Wisconsin workers.
To stop unfair competition and to abolish dishonorable trade practices.
There's no such thing as free trade.
And for all these, we have only just begun to fight.
We have only begun the fight. Now again, this applause goes on for 45 seconds. I want to fade it out because I don't want to play 45 seconds of applause. The President of the United States of America used to get it. The President of the United States of America didn't used to be bought and sold. He actually used to care about we the people and used to work for we the people.
You know what you just reminded me of? I don't mean to cut you off, but that speech just reminded me of the Employee Free Choice Act. Does anyone remember that? Back in 2009, the bill that didn't make it through Congress to improve the, obviously improve the opportunity for people to join unions. And, you know, consider the card check bill. And that's just dead. You don't even hear anything about that anymore.
FDR was our last great working man's president. I've got a few more clips I want to share with you from FDR.
Lost working time is lost money. Every day that a workman is unemployed, or a machine is unused, or a business organization is marking time, it is a loss to the nation.
Our nation right now, with a actually reported unemployment rate of 9.1, actual employment somewhere around 20%. Think about what we're losing. Think about the infrastructure that we're not building. Think about the progress that we're not making. We're falling behind, people. We used to be the #1 country in the world. And, of course, many of us will fight to the grave saying that we still are. But until we actually look around and look at the rest of the world and say, holy crap, we're you know, it's falling. We're not there anymore.
Of course, we will provide useful work for the needy unemployed.
And of course, FDR, most famous for, you know, being president during the Great Depression.
I see 1/3 of a nation ill-housed, ill-clad, ill-nourished.
And, wait, where's that last FDR clip? And finally, most important of all, people are afraid to stand up. People are afraid to say something about it. People are afraid to fight back against the system that is screwing them royally.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance.
FDR also fought for all of the benefits that Joe American, our story that we read in the first hour, Joe American, Joe Republican, all those benefits that he doesn't realize he gets.
Takes for granted.
Takes for granted.
Yeah, because anything a union gets, obviously that becomes the norm.
Of course, we will continue to work for cheaper electricity in the homes and on the farms of America, for better and cheaper transportation, for low interest rates, for sounder home financing, for better banking, for the regulation of security issues. And, my friends, for all of these, we have only just begun to fight.
Only just begun the fight. 1936, 75 years ago, they had only begun the fight, and we must continue the fight today.
To go on, what of our objective? Of course we will continue our effort for young men and women so that they may obtain an education and an opportunity to put it to use. Of course, we will continue our help for the crippled, for the blind, for the mothers, our insurance for the unemployed, our security for the aged. Of course, we will continue to protect the consumer against unnecessary price spreads, against the costs that are added by monopoly and speculation. We will continue our successful efforts to increase his purchasing power and keep it constant. And for these things too, and for a multitude of things like them, we have only just begun to fight.
We must keep up the fight.
Yeah, and you also remember, too, at that time, just before his death, he had put forward the new Human Bill of Rights that he outlined in one of his last speeches before he passed away, and that basically spoke to all the things that he pointed out.
Second Bill of Rights.
Yeah, his second Bill of Rights, which was just totally thrown in the trash once we started,
Now, real quick, before we do get to the break, I want to play a real quick clip from Chris Hedges, who we did an entire show on last week about. Chris Hedges, author, scholar, foreign correspondent.
Nobel Prize winner.
Nobel Peace Prize winning, Pulitzer Prize winner.
Pulitzer Prize winner, yeah.
Here's a quick clip from Chris on how everything is a commodity. Everything will be exploited for profit until death and collapse. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is safe. The human nature, we are cannibals. Listen to this.
A self-regulating market inevitably turns human beings and the natural environment into commodities, a situation that ensures the destruction of both society and the natural world. The free market's assumption that nature and human beings are objects whose worth is determined by the market allows each to be exploited for profit until exhaustion or collapse. A society that no longer recognizes that nature and human life have a sacred dimension, an intrinsic value beyond monetary value, commits collective suicide. Such societies cannibalize themselves until they die.
When are we going to wake up? When are we going to stop being afraid to fight back?
Gotta resist. I mean, we didn't...
I'm going to play it one more time. I'm sorry.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Now listen to the second half of the quote.
Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance.
Convert retreat into advance.
Yeah, one of the arguments against the New Deal is that it kept alive capitalism. And that's where we are. No, that's my point. Is that he even given the crisis of the Great Depression, he was still forced to basically revive capitalism from itself, sort of rescue it from itself, which is where we are again today. It's the same thing.
Well, I think I rescued some of the FDR clips that got cut off in the first hour, and we're piecing together a live show here on Labor Day with some technical difficulties. Thank you, Ustream. And I want to say thanks again to everybody who's hanging out with us. It is Filter Free Radio. We will be back with some more fun stuff for you. I've got a couple of clips I need to play for you. And when we come back, Scott and I are going to try to draw it out to the big picture and how we all need to really get involved and get active today, because we see what's going on. And unless we push back...
What it is, what it does, and what it means to you.
There you go. Filter Free Radio. We'll be right back. Have you been waiting for a show that gives you the real news you need to know? Have you been waiting for a show that reports the truth and isn't afraid to call it as it is? I've been waiting for that show too, and it's not coming from the mainstream media. It's not coming from the bought and sold corporate media. It's not coming from the news networks that only look out for profits and their bottom lines. They all speak through filters. That's why you need filter-free news. That's why you need filter-free radio. Filter-free radio is your new news headquarters for exactly what's going on and just exactly what we need to do about it. We must move forward. Move forward with us. Filter-free radio, live Mondays 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern on the Ustream home of Nicole Sandler, radioornot.com, and the all-new filterfreeradio.com. This is Job Creator by Jim Tour. Please visit BlueCanyonProductions.com for all of Jim's fine work. You're listening to Filter Free Radio on RadioOrNot.com and FilterFreeRadio.com.
Well, they used to call me rich folks. Now it's job creators, please. The jobs you're creating are like working for Satan, and you just assume they're overseas. Job creator, won't you? Job creator, won't you? Job creator, yeah, just buy up everything, like cars and diamond rings and second homes. But job creator, won't you leave our English language alone? Well, I used to tell your daddy that kid will be no good. You leave him all that money, he's gonna turn out funny and think he owns the neighborhood. Job creator, won't you? Job creator, won't you? Job creator, you contributed enough, so go buy more good stuff like boats and cars. And don't mind people calling you rich if that's what you are. Well, every time I hear your troubles about how your taxes are too high, I think how much I cost you, about all the cash I lost you, and it makes me wanna cry. Job creator, won't you? Job creator, won't you? Job creator, yeah, just buy up everything, like cars and diamond rings and second homes. But job creator, won't you leave our English language alone? Yeah, job creator, won't you leave our English language alone? Yeah, job creator, won't you leave our English language alone?
This is Kenny Pick from Turn Up the Night, and you're listening to Filter Free Radio with Jacob Dean. Check out filterfreeradio.com. Another fine program from the Radio or Not family of programs.
They say the next big thing is here, that the revolution's near. But to me it seems quite clear that it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Oh, yes, I love that. That's like my new favorite bumper. Skeptical Scott, you are the man for checking that one down. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a theme song with something about Mary. What can I say?
Welcome back. My name is Jacob Dean. Filter Free Radio. I am your host here. And you know what? I'm just going to play this just for shits and giggles because due to the technical difficulties and Ustream not behaving, it's really felt like a case of the Mondays.
So can I get you gentlemen something more to drink? Or maybe something to nibble on? Some pizza shooters, shrimp poppers, or extreme fajitas?
Just coffee.
Okay. Sounds like a case of the Mondays.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Let me ask you something. When you come in on Monday and you're not feeling real well, does anyone ever say to you, sounds like someone has a case of the Mondays?
No. No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Okay, yes, it is a case of the Mondays. And it's not just any Monday, it is Labor Day. We are broadcasting live. It is 8:34 on the East Coast. Yes, and that's, what's that make it? 5:34 on the West Coast.
Not 11:34.
No, I think I've got my numbers right. Maybe. No, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It has been a kind of a case of the Monday show. Unfortunately, the machines and the we have these hamsters on the wheel back there running and spinning to keep the show rolling basically. And what happened is the stick that had the carrot out in front of the hamster number 1, which was running Ustream, I guess when I turned around and grabbed a drink of water or something, I must have bumped the carrot stick, and that fell off, and then the hamster fell off the wheel, and then Ustream just crashed during our first hour. So don't blame me, blame the hamster. I don't know.
It's not user error.
It's not. Now I realize why you're so loud. I forgot to turn that off. Okay.
Oops.
Okay, it's a fly by the seat of our pants kind of show this evening, and I want to again thank everyone out there for hanging out with us and for I don't know, hanging out there with us.
Yeah, we got Shano, we got Johnny O, we got Soapbox, we got your mom, got Trojan Rabbit.
Hey Mom.
we got Victor, we got Buckeye Ken, and of course we got Adam, and 3 unknown guests. So there's some of y'all out there. We appreciate you on our listening to us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, guys. This morning, what are you talking about? This morning?
I haven't been awake that long.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a freaking holiday.
Yes, it is a freaking holiday, and it's Labor Day.
Yeah,
it is Labor Day.
I'd like to jump out real quick because Shano put a nice little Labor Day quote up in here in the chat room. I'd like to read to everybody if you guys missed it, and it was a good one. It basically said that capital is the fruit of our labor. Oh crap! It keeps going away. Now I keep losing it. Yeah, I know. Maybe Shano can call in and tell us. It said capital is the only fruit of labor. Labor is superior to capital and deserves much more. And that's actually a Lincoln quote.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
I know I butchered it, but
thank you, Shano, and thanks to everybody out in the chat room. I do want to mention real quick that we are broadcasting on Labor Day not only because I think it's so important, the story of labor and Labor Day and everything, all of the benefits that we now share and use every single day because of those efforts. But I also want to give a special shout out to my mom and dad who are watching and listening, and Carmen. Hey, they all have to work usually during this time, so they're not able to watch live, and they're watching live. But I do want to mention you can watch all of our shows at our website, filterfreeradio.com, free, on demand. That's right, we're on demand. I like to say that because whatever the cable system is, it makes a big deal about being on demand. It's like whatever. But we're on demand too. If you demand Filter Free Radio, you can go to filterfreeradio.com and check us out. It is Labor Day. We are working. We're doing it live, and I've lost my clips. Oh.
Hey, Shano put another one up for us. Thanks, Shano. I'd like to read this one as well. Where free unions and collective bargaining are forbidden, freedom is lost. And who said that? Ronald Reagan.
Wait.
Thank you, Shano.
Wait.
What are you doing there, Jacob?
Wait for it.
Where free unions and collective bargaining are forbidden, freedom is lost.
Sorry, I didn't realize that the music was still on. One more time. Here you go.
Where free unions and collective bargaining are forbidden, freedom is lost.
Free unions. Yes, thank you so much. There's a lot of things Ronald Reagan has said, a lot of truisms Ronald Reagan had prior to his presidency. He lost all that once he got paid by General Electric. But
there you go. And I think Ustream might be having some technical difficulties. So if you're not being able to see me, you might want to refresh or hit the refresh arrow at the bottom of the video. We've had technical difficulties all evening long, so please bear with us. This is
damn Ustream ads.
This is not the exceptional Labor Day extravaganza that I had hoped it to be, but that's quite all right. This is why this is what happens when you do it live. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Where's that damn quote at?
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Fuck it, fucking thing sucks.
Shano said tech problems is part of the charm. Thanks, Shano.
Yeah.
We're trying to be as charming as possible here.
People say we have a problem. We don't have a problem.
What's the problem? I haven't got a problem. I've got fucking problems. Plural.
We have fucking problems.
On many levels.
Yeah, it's definitely not your standard filter-free radio this evening. I want to have a little fun. It is Labor Day, And what the heck? Why don't we play a couple of funny clips or whatnot?
Yeah, man. Did you play all those Carlin clips?
We did, but they're still here somewhere. I got to track them down here. I'm getting discombobulated here.
No worries. There's at least George Carlin, Chris Hedges. They're all very relevant to today's status. And the sad thing is that we can sit here and talk about it all day, but it's kind of depressing. So it's more fun to joke about it.
Oh, actually, you know what? Before I get to Carlin, before I get to George, there's a couple of here that I actually want to play for you.
What is it?
Share with you. Well, I don't know. Just to have a little fun for fuck's sake, why not?
Just a reminder, this station does not endorse vigilante justice, unless it gets results, which it will.
Get him!
We should just have a whole show playing Simpsons clips.
Oh, there's
at least relevant ones to our society today, because God, they're so poignant.
I think you're all fucked in the head.
I don't think this boy's got all his marbles.
No, I do not have all of my marbles, Mr. Foghorn Leghorn. What was I going for?
We're doing the FDR clips for
Well,
Labor
I
Day.
think you're absolutely right to be extremely skeptical of those ideas.
Hey, our good friend Mr. Sanders.
Good old Bernie.
He's right. That's right. We do. We should be skeptical. All right, let me get the Carlin clips ready here, and I'll pull those open.
No worries.
Yeah, it is Labor Day, and we touched on a few things in our first hour that Ustream destroyed, unfortunately. But we should all be aware and thankful of what the unions have given us. And I also want to mention that Oregon, my home state of Oregon, woohoo, and big shout out and hello to everybody out there in Oregon, as y'all say on the East Coast, drives me nuts.
That was a fake Southern accent, by the way. We don't sound like that.
No,
we do not have a Southern accent.
But
here
y'all say Oregon, and that drives me nuts.
That's because you guys spell it that way.
No, it's Oregon. Do it again like Oregon.
There's no AI at the end there, buddy. Sorry, Oregonians.
And you can't say Willamette, and you can't say Multnomah. It just drives me nuts. But anyways,
Yeah, but we digress.
Oregon was the first state in the United States to make Labor Day a holiday, which is really cool. And it wasn't until 10 years later, a whole decade after Oregon had been celebrating Labor Day, that President at the time, President Grover Cleveland in 1897, made Labor Day a federal holiday. And the only reason that he made it a holiday was pressure from the unions following the Pullman strike. So there you go.
Among others, yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
I think one of the fascinating things to point out too, and to sort of, if I can riff on it, if I may,
Go for it.
is the notion of again, like what Shane pointed out, is labor as being capital. Labor is capital, and companies know that, and that's why they pay labor, because obviously there's a price to be paid for your work. Now, the rub is that about 70 so years ago, people really understood that hourly wage labor are being paid for your work rather than working for yourself or working for some greater cause in some sort of nonprofit fashion. And I'm talking about capitalism here. I'm sort of attacking capitalism, if I may.
What? Anti-capitalist? We can't have that in America.
Yeah, because, I mean, the premise is that each individual has their own right to work for what they want to work for rather than working for someone else at an hourly wage just to make a living. So it is, and it was acknowledged much as a higher form of slavery. And, a step above in slavery, and it goes indentured servitude, and then now it becomes an hourly wage. And so with each step, it's sort of an acquiescence a little bit from the wealthy elite. And so rather than instead of having corporations that are owned by their employees, they're still owned by the rich oligarchs.
I'm totally going to throw a monkey wrench in here, and I just realized why Ustream croaked. It's because a new Ustream software has come out, and I haven't upgraded to the new one because I don't want to, because I've heard of the features, and it's probably causing all the problems. Just dawned on me that that's the problem. Anyways,
You gonna get those Carlin clips?
George Carlin, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the man who tells it like it is and isn't afraid to go places where I'm afraid to go. It's George Carlin. Here's a couple clips from a stand-up that we watched from George that he did in 2001 or 2002, about 10 years ago, that Scott and I watched over the weekend. A couple of clips there.
You know what's interesting about assassination? Who it is we assassinate. Did you ever notice who it is? Stop to think of who it is we kill. It's always people who've told us to live together in harmony and try to love one another. Jesus, Gandhi, Lincoln, John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John Lennon. They all said, try to live together peacefully. Bam! Right in the fucking head. Apparently, we're not ready for that.
No, we are not ready for that. I've got one more George Carlin clip I want to share with you, and then I'd like to share a story of Joe American, which I think, again, is so important to do on Labor Day for those of us who don't realize how we all use and utilize the benefits from Labor Day. Here's George Carlin. This is a little bit long of a clip, but hang in there with it. It's funny. It'll keep your attention. George is touching on the fact that it's called the American Dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. And the people who really own the country, the real owners of this country, don't want you and I to be educated and well-informed because that is not in their best interests. So we must begin to work and realize what our best interests are and work towards our own best interests.
There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever be fixed. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big, wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged, and nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on. The fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream. Because you have to be asleep to believe it.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we need to be saying. That's what we need to be doing. Because
we need to be in the streets. We need to be active. We need to be engaging our local citizens, our neighbors, our friends, our relatives, our coworkers, our God forbid our employers. Of what is reality and what is wrong about the way they view the world. I mean, one of the things I've learned is that false hopes bind us to unlivable situations, and they blind us to any real possibilities. And so you have to ask yourself, what are the false hopes that you have or other individuals have as a larger scale that bind us to the current corrupt system that we have?
Speaking of being blind, let me share with you a real quick story of a buddy of mine, Joe, who's blind to Labor Day, to the history behind Labor Day. Joe gets up Joe American is his name. I love his last name. I wish I could have his name. Joe American gets up every day at 6 a.m. and fills his coffee pot with water in order to prepare his coffee. The water is clean and fresh because some tree-hugging radical fought for fresh water. With his first swallow of coffee, he takes his daily medication. All but $10 of his medication is paid for by his employer, by the medical plan he has through his employer, because some cuckoo radical liberal union workers fought their employers, for paid medical insurance, and now Joe also gets that same medical insurance. Joe prepares his morning breakfast. Joe's bacon is safe to eat because some crazy radical liberal fought for laws to regulate the meatpacking industry. In the morning shower, Joe reaches for a shampoo. The bottle is properly labeled with each ingredient and the amount in total contents because some crybaby radical liberal fought for his right to know what exactly he was putting on his body and how much of that it contained. Good to know. Joe American dresses, walks outside, and takes a deep breath. The air he breathes is clean because some environmentalist, wacko, radical liberal fought for laws to help stop industries from polluting the air and the water and the rest of the ecosystem. Joe walks to the subway station for his government-subsidized ride to work. It saves him considerable money in parking and transportation fees because some equality for all radical liberal fought for affordable public transportation, which gives everybody the opportunity to be a contributor to society. Joe starts his workday. He has a good job with excellent pay, medical benefits, retirement, paid holidays, happy Labor Day, and vacation because some silly radical liberal union members fought and died for these working standards. If Joe is hurt on the job or becomes unemployed, he'll get a worker compensation or unemployment check because some careless radical liberal didn't think he should lose his home because of his temporary misfortune. It's 5 o'clock. Joe leaves work, needs to go make a bank deposit so he can pay some of his bills. Joe's deposit is federally insured by the FDIC because some senseless radical wanted to protect Joe's money from the corrupt banksters who ruined the banking system. Now, Joe gets home from work. He plans to visit his father this evening at his farm home out in the country. He gets in the car for the drive. His car is among the safest in the world because some American-hating radical liberal fought for car safety standards. He arrives at his father's place, his boyhood home, the house out on the farm, the house that didn't even have electricity until some wild radical liberal stuck his nose where it didn't belong and demanded rural electricity. Joe is happy to see his father, who's now retired. His father has medical care, lives on Social Security and a union pension because some irrational radical liberal made sure that Joe's father could take care of himself so Joe wouldn't have to. Joe gets back in his car for his ride home and then turns on a radio talk show. The radio host says radicals are bad, liberals are bad, and conservatives are good. He doesn't mention the beloved Republicans have fought against every protection and every benefit that Joe enjoys throughout the day. All of these that are mentioned, all of the benefits that Joe gets, that you and I get, Republicans fought every single step of the way. The 40-hour work week, weekends, etc., all of the above. And Joe agrees. We don't need those big government radical liberals ruining our lives. After all, Joe says, I'm a self-made man who believes everyone should take care of themselves just like I have without any help. That's the story of Joe American. I want you to go Google Joe American and get that story in the hands of everybody who needs it. All of your friends who need it. All of your friends who don't realize, all of the people who don't realize what Labor Day means and the struggles that the labor movement fought and died for so that you and I can have a frickin' weekend.
Yeah, if I could take that just to a little bit bigger picture, if you will. I've recently read an article that sort of puts it out. Consider how we think of ourselves and your friends and family, how you think of yourself and how you think of your neighbors and everybody you know. Do you think of them based on who they work for and what they do for a living? Or do you think of them as people and individuals that you know and you like for whatever characteristics they may have? Because the problem I think we have is that very few of us identify ourselves with the jobs we do. Jobs are a means to an end. We work so we can have money to do things we love, and people identify us with our loves and our passions. And most of us don't love or are passionate about our jobs, so they don't associate us with the work we do. And I think if we can get back to a society where everybody does work that they love, or at least is passionate about, then I think we will be in a better place.
Unions and labor gave us the weekend. Unions helped end child labor. Unions won widespread employer-based health care coverage for the workers. And unions helped spearheaded the fight for the Family and Medical Leave Act. All of these things that you should know about labor and unions on Labor Day. I'm going to share one more quick clip from you. This is a Chinese news report on working conditions today. This news report is from 2 months ago. This is, 1 month ago, exactly to the day, August 4th, 2011. This is a Chinese news report about working conditions at a particular plant in China. Listen to this.
Taiwan's IT giant Foxconn announced it plans to replace up to 500,000 human workers with robots in the next 3 years. This comes after the company has been troubled with a series of employee suicides. Foxconn is currently the world's largest manufacturer of computer components, assembling products for Apple, Sony, and Nokia. Currently, 10,000 robots paint, weld, and assemble things for Foxconn. The company announced at an event in Shenzhen they plan to increase that number to 300,000 next year and to 1 million in 2014. Foxconn spokesman could not be reached for comments. Last year, a total of at least 14 Foxconn employees committed suicide, mostly in the company's plant in China's southern city of Shenzhen. Activists blame Foxconn for poor working conditions.
Workers in China are committing suicide because of poor working conditions. And no one is stepping up and saying something about it. Nobody's fighting back because they're scared. And the only thing that we have to fear or to be scared of is that fear in which we all have to fight back. As the President of the United States of America so brilliantly said, Mr. FDR.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance.
And there you have it. And there you have it. On that note, I'd love to end on FDR. I think that's a brilliant note to end on. And that's going to complete the Labor Day mangled, technically disastrous Labor Day special here on Filter Free Radio. My name is Jacob Dean. I want to thank my co-host, Skeptical Scott, for always being there with me.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all the people who helped make this program possible. First and foremost, Nicole Sandler, RadioOrNot.com. Please go check out Nicole's site. And check out all the other programs that are live every night of the week here on RadioOrNot.com. All the fine co-hosts. I want to thank DanoSongs.com for production music. I want to thank Crowned Records and my friend the Roybert. Hey, Roy, for all of your help with music production. Thank you. And I want to thank you, most importantly, for listening to the program. I mean, if you weren't there to listen, if all you guys out there in the chat room weren't hanging out, you know, it would just be me talking to myself.
It would just be masturbation.
And I do that enough already, so no.
TMI, Jacob, TMI.
So on that note, have a fantastic rest of your Labor Day and get out there and get active, you know. Do something about it. Make a difference. I'd love to see that. That'd be great.
This is it.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. So give me something to believe, 'cause I am living just to breathe, and I need something more to keep on breathing.
listening to Jacob Dean, streaming live on the web.
The revolution will be broadcast.
We bring you the real stuff.